Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God. Back with you with the next video in my series, Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Without further ado, returning to Great Expectations. I went into a coffee house to write a little note to Clara, telling her he had gone off, sending his love to her over and over again, and then went to my lonely home, if it deserved the name, for it was now no home to me, and I had had no home anywhere. On the stairs I encountered Wemmick, who was coming down after an unsuccessful application of his knuckles to my door. I had not seen him alone since the disastrous issue of the attempted flight, as he had come in his private and personal capacity to say a few words of explanation in reference to that failure. The late Compeyson, said Wemmick, had by little and little got at the bottom of half of the regular business now transacted, and it was from the talk of some of his people in trouble, some of his people being always in trouble, that I heard what I did. I kept my ears open, seeming to have them shut, until I heard that he was absent, and I thought that would be the best time for making the attempt. I can only suppose now that it was part of his policy, as a very clever man, habitually to deceive his own instruments. You don't blame me, I hope, Mr. Pip. I am sure I tried to serve you with all my heart. I am as sure of that, Wemmick, as you can be, and I thank you most earnestly for all your interest and friendship. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a bad job, said Wemmick, scratching his head, and I assure you, I haven't been so cut up for a long time. What I look at is the sacrifice of so much portable property. Dear me! What I think of, Wemmick, is the poor owner of the property. Yes, to be sure, said Wemmick. Of course, there can be no objection to your being sorry for him, and I'd put down a £5 note myself to get him out of it. But what I look at is this: the late Compeyson having been beforehand with him in intelligence of his return, and being so determined to bring him to book, I do not think he could have been saved, whereas the portable property certainly could have been saved. That's the difference between the property and the owner, don't you see? I invited Wemmick to come upstairs and refresh himself with a glass of grog before walking to Walworth. He accepted the invitation. While he was drinking his moderate allowance, he said, with nothing to lead up to it, and after having appeared rather fidgety, "What do you think of my meaning to take a holiday on Monday, Mr. Pip?" "Why, I suppose you have not done such a thing these 12 months. These 12 years, more likely," said Wemmick. "Yes, I'm going to take a holiday. More than that, I'm going to take a walk. More than that, I'm going to ask you to take a walk with me." I was about to excuse myself as being but a bad companion just then, when Wemmick anticipated me. "I know your engagements," said he, "and I know you are out of sorts, Mr. Pip. But if you could oblige me, I should take it as a kindness. It ain't a long walk, and it's an early one. Say it might occupy you, including breakfast on the walk, from 8 to 12. Couldn't you stretch a point and manage it?" He had done so for me at various times, that this was very little to do for him. I said I could manage it, would manage it, and he was so very much pleased by his acquiescence that I was pleased too. At his particular request, I appointed to call for him at the castle at 8:30 on Monday morning, and so we parted for the time. Punctual to my appointment, I ran at the castle gate on the Monday morning, and was received by Wemmick himself, who struck me as looking tighter than usual, and having a sleeker hat on. Within, There were 2 glasses of rum and milk prepared, and 2 biscuits. The aged must have been stirring with the lark, for, glancing into the perspective of his bedroom, I observed that his bed was empty. When he had fortified ourselves with the rum and milk and biscuits, and were going out for the walk with the training preparation on us, I was considerably surprised to see Wemmick take up a fishing rod and put it over his shoulder. "Why are we not going fishing?" said I. "No," returned Wemmick, "but I like to walk with one." I thought this odd, however I said nothing, and we set off. We went towards Camberwell Green, and when we were thereabouts, Wemmick said suddenly, "Halloa, here's a church." There was nothing very surprising in that, but a game. I was rather surprised when he said, as if he were animated by a brilliant idea, "Let's go in." We went in, Wemmick leaving his fishing rod in the porch, and looked all around. In the meantime, Wemmick was diving into his coat pockets and getting something out of paper there. "Halloa," said he, "here's a couple of pair of gloves. Let's put 'em on." As the gloves were white kid gloves, as the post office was widened to its utmost extent, I now began to have my strong suspicions. They were strengthened into certainty when I beheld the aged enter at a side door, escorting a lady. "Halloa," said Wemmick. "Here, Miss Skiffins, let's have a wedding." That discreet damsel was attired as usual, except that she was now engaged in substituting for her green kid gloves a pair of white. The aged was likewise occupied in preparing a similar sacrifice for the altar of Hymen. The old gentleman, however, experienced so much difficulty in getting his gloves on, that Wemmick found it necessary to put him with his back against a pillar, then to get behind the pillar himself and pull away at them, while I, for my part, held the old gentleman round the waist, that he might present an equal and safe resistance. By dint of this ingenious scheme, his gloves were got on to perfection. The clerk and clergyman then appearing, we were ranged in order at those fatal rails. True to his notion of seeming to do it all without preparation, I heard Wemmick say to himself as he took something out of his waistcoat pocket before the service began, "Halloa, here's a ring." I acted in the capacity of a backer, or best man, to the bridegroom, while a little limp pew opener in soft bonnet like a baby's made a feint of being the bosom friend of Miss Skiffins. The responsibility of giving the lady away devolved upon the aged, which led to the clergyman's being unintentionally scandalized. And it happened thus, when he said, "Who giveth this woman to be married to this man?" The old gentleman, not in the least knowing what point of the ceremony we had arrived at, stood most amiably beaming at the 10 Commandments, upon which the clergyman said again, "Who giveth this woman to be married to this man?" The old gentleman being still in a state of most estimable consciousness, the bridegroom cried out in his accustomed voice, "Now, aged P, you know, who giveth?" To which the aged replied with great briskness before saying that he gave. "All right, John, all right, my boy." And the clergyman came to so gloomy a pause upon it, that I had doubts for the moment whether we should get completely married that day. It was completely done, however, and we were going out of church, and when we were going out of church, Wemmick took the cover off the font, and put his white gloves in it, and put the cover on again. We'll go ahead and stop there for this week. As usual, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe as it greatly helps the channel. Light be with you all. Take care. And thanks again.